Hey guys, Faisal here from Phase and Codes. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Network Manager command. We're going to take a look at how to configure our IP statically using the Network Manager command, also known as nmcli. We're going to take a look at how to configure our default gateway and our DNS using the nmcli. We're also going to be taking a look at how to add a completely new configuration of our IP, our DNS, and default gateway. And we're also going to take a look at how to modify it. We're also going to be taking a look at how to use the graphical user interface of Network Manager command. All right, with that being said, let's get started. So first, I'm going to minimize this. All right, so just going to check my server, virtual machine, and I'm going to configure or actually check our IP. All right, so I am on a different network from our previous video, and it's not the 192 network, it's actually 172. So this is why it looks different. I'm on a completely different network. And you guys must know a little bit about subnetting to kind of understand default gateway and how to configure your IP statically. Not to worry if you guys don't know about subnetting. I will do a video in the future explaining about it. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna open up mremote-ng. I'm gonna SSH. All right, so we're gonna take in the root user at 172.20.10.4. Yes, allow it. Log in as roots. All right, we're logged in. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the PuTTY settings, and I'm going to change the font to 16. Click apply. All right, it's a little better. All right, so in the intro I spoke about what it's referred as, the network manager command. So it is an MCLI. So what we do is we put in nm. Oops, not typing. So we put in nm for network manager, and we put in CLI for command line interface. So network manager, command line interface. And then we put in con for connection, and we put in show to show what kind of connections we have. Press enter, and you'll see that this is one of our interfaces, or you can call it a NIC, network interface, that we have configured. Now if we do nmcli con show, and then we put in the name of that interface, which in this case it's ENS 160. We put in ENS 160, and you'll see all the configuration for this specific network interface. So you'll see the address, you'll see the gateway that's been configured, you can see the connection, read only, the permissions, and all the other information that you would need. You'll see the IPv4, the IPv6, the DNS, see the proxy. So there's a lot in this. There's quite a bit in this. And if you guys want to actually um, get a little bit of help, you simply just put in man nmcli. And then you'll see you can press the arrow down key on your keyboard, and you guys can see all the different options or flags. And you guys can see how to configure it. So there's a lot actually. So I will show you the most basic usage and the setup that we primarily would need to set up a static IP. All right. So now that we know how to view the network interface configurations, we're going to actually set it. We'll actually modify it first. So what's our IP right now? Let's first confirm our IP. So we'll do if config, right? And you'll see that our IP is 172 192.20.10.4, right? So now we'll modify this. So we'll say nmcli con for connection, and we'll put in modify, right? And then we'll put in the name of the network interface we're configuring. In this case, it's ENS 160, so ENS 160. And then we'll put in IPv4, right? Because we're using IPv4 right now. And then we'll put in dot add res is not address, but addresses, right? So IPv4 dot addresses. Then we'll put in the IP that we want. So in this case, I want 172. I want .20, .10, and let's say I want .5. And then we'll put in the prefix. So this is where subnetting comes in handy. We'll open up our Google and we'll simply just type in subnet sheet. Okay, we go on the subnet sheet mask, and you'll see right here our net mask matches with the 28 prefix, or you can call this CIDR. This is referred to as a CIDR or a prefix. So in my previous videos, my CIDR was /24. So it was 192.168. I believe it was .50, and then I believe it was .81, the last octet. So that was for my previous network. For this one, it's /28, 28/28 CIDR. All right, so we're gonna put in /28, and then we're gonna put in the default gateway, IPv4 dot gateway. And now to confirm our gateway, what we're going to do, since I'm on Windows, I'm going to open up command line cmd, and I'm simply going to put in IP config. Instead of ifconfig, I'll put in IP config. Windows is a little bit different on the commands, but essentially the same terminology. Anyways, let's press enter, and we'll see our default gateway is 172.20.10.1. So we'll put in a space and we'll put in 172.20.10.1. And then we'll put in IPv4.DNS, and we're going to be using 8.8.8. You can also use 1.1.1, right, for once. But just for this case, I'll go with 8.8.8. So I'll press enter. And now, if I do ifconfig, you'll see our IP is still the same. And you're wondering why? Why is it still the same? Well, that's because we haven't restarted the service for the nmcli. So to do that, we simply put nmcli, right, network manager command line interface, and con for connection, and we put in down. We want to bring the connection down. So we're going to put in down ENS 160, press enter, give it a few seconds. Okay. Well, the thing is, since I did nmcli countdown, I lost connection to our SSH connection, to our current session right here in the SSH. I lost the connection because I took down the network. So I'm going to actually have to go into the virtual machine, and I'm going to have to bring the network up using nmcli con up ENS 160. So we'll press enter on that. And now, if we do ifconfig, you'll see we have .5 instead of .4. So you'll see .4 over here, right? And over here, you'll see .5. It's a little tiny to see. Actually, you know what? Let me SSH into the new IP. So root 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Let me Oops, I just exposed my password once again, which is fine. We'll go to settings, the font a bit bigger. So now if you see, you'll see that our IP has been configured to .5. So just keep that in mind when you do bring down the network. You will lose connectivity if you are SSH'd in. Um, so that's why we couldn't actually bring it up because our SSH connection was disturbed. So that's essentially how you modify it and bring it up and I'm sorry, bring it down and then bring it up. So just note that after you have configured it, you have to restart the service, and this goes for almost every service there is in Linux, whether it being HTTP, HTTPD, the Apache service, the SSH service, you name it. So you would want to bring it down and then bring it up. So this is actually one of the issues that I had when I was first learning the nmlci command. I wasn't aware of bringing the network down and then bringing it up to actually restart the service. So keep that in mind. All right. So we took a look at how to modify our network using the nmcli. All right. Now let's take a look at how to add a new network. So I'm going to go in my virtual machine. I'm going to click on player, and then I'll go to manage and click on virtual machine settings. So right now you'll see I have a network adapter that is bridged. I'll actually add another one, network adapter, and I'm going to actually bridge this one as well, not use NAT. And if you guys don't know the difference, I'll make a separate video explaining what the difference is between bridged, NAT, and host only. It's a little bit of a long video for that, so we'll get into that later. So for this tutorial sake, I'll go with bridged. Press OK. Now, if we do if config, you should see another network interface appear up. So if we do if config, now you'll see we have enz224. So we just added that one, and there's nothing configured onto it because we just added it. So this is a fresh adapter. All right. Now let's do nmcli con show. Now you'll see that there's nothing right now, right? There's only ENS 160. That's because we haven't added that yet. We have added the adapter from our virtual machine settings, but we haven't added it through the command line interface. So let's take a look at how to do that. All right. So what you want to do is you want to go nmcli con, and then you want to add, right? We're going to add a new one, and then you're going to say con slash, or sorry, hyphen name. We're going to give the name. So in this case, we're going to say ENS222. I'm not going to give it the exact same name. I don't want any conflict. I don't see why there would be a conflict, but just in case there is, I'm going to keep it a little different. So keep in mind, guys, the name is what you want to be using to bring it up. All right, not the device, but the name. So let's add the con name ENS22. And what we'll do, actually, let me retract that. You can use the name, or if you want to be really specific, you can use a UUID. So I can essentially put nmcli con up, and I can put the UUID for this, and it'll come up, and vice versa for down. So you can do that as well. Anyways, let's add our new adapter or our network interface. So what we'll do, ENS22, yep, and then we will say IPv4.addresses, right? And we'll say 172.20.10. In this case, we'll do .4. So what we had previously set up, we will do that one, .4. And the CIDR is 28 IPv4.gateway, and I've already shown you how to check your gateway from the command line interface. And you can also actually, let me show you how to view a little bit more settings for this for IP config. So what you want to do on Windows, you want to type in IP config and you want to put space slash, and if you put all, you'll see a lot more information regarding your connections. So let's press enter, and now you'll see you get a lot more information listed. All right, so I'll just clear the screen. So our default gateway was 172. It was .20, .20, .10, oops, .1. We'll set up our DNS IPv4.DNS. We'll put in 1.1.1. This time we'll do 4 ones. Press enter. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you guys that we need to add a type. So right after you put in con name, or you can put it after the con name and then the name of the network, or I'm sorry, the network interface you're giving. You can put in type, and you can put in Ethernet, because we're bridged, so we'll put in Ethernet. I'll type enter, and now you see the connection ENS222 has been successfully added, and this is our UUID that it generated. All right. This is interesting. I lost connection. No. All right. I thought I lost connection there for a second. That was weird. Okay. Anyways, so now let's do nmcli con show, and now we should have another interface with the name of ENS22. And now you'll see ENS22 is present. And this is that UUID that was generated for us, and it seems to match. Awesome. All right. Now let's do if config, and you'll see that our IP has been configured. And now you guys might be like, well, why did you not have to bring this one down and then up again? Well, that's because we added this one. We added a new network interface. We didn't modify it. We completely added a completely new IP, default gateway, and our DNS. So that's why we didn't have to bring it down and then up again. But if you are modifying it, do remember you do have to bring it down and then up to restart the service. Let's actually try to ping it to see if it's actually pingable. 172.20.10.4. And yeah, it seems to work. Let's actually bring down the ENS to 160, and let's see if it's still working. At nmcli, right? Network Manager Command Line Interface, con for connection down, and then ENS 160. Press enter. All right. Now we'll do an nmcli con show, and okay. So now we have that. Let's see if you can ping Google. Okay, we can ping Google, so we can resolve. Now let's do yum update. Yep, we can definitely do yum update. I'm gonna press N for now because it is a pretty big file, 114 megabytes. All right. So also keep in mind that this nmcli works on Fedora based. So Fedora, Red Hat, and CentOS distributions. For Ubuntu distributions, you have to use a little bit of a different method. You have to actually configure it in the /etc net plan, and I'll make a completely different video for that, explaining how to configure that. And the commands are actually a little bit different too to bring it up. It's actually net plan try to test the changes and net plan apply. So again, I'll be doing a completely different video explaining how to change your IP statically on Ubuntu. All right. So now we have added a new connection and we have modified our current connection that we had. Now, let me show you how to add auto connect feature. All right. Actually, before I show you how to add auto connect, let me add another IP towards the configured adapter that we configured just a couple seconds ago. So what we'll do is nmcli and we'll do const show, and I believe we named it ENS222. And now you'll see, oops, sorry. Now we'll scroll down, you'll see that the IP that we set was 172.20.4 cider/28. All right, so let's just have a scroll down and to confirm, right? Um, all right, so for now, we also see the .5, which is from our ENS 160. Now, what I want to show you guys is that we do see .4, right, and .5 for ENS 160, right? So and this is for ENS 222. So I want to add another IP to ENS 222. So how do we do that? Well, we simply put in nmcli con, right, for connection, and we put in mod for modify, or you can simply put modify completely, but mod is a little bit shorter. Then we put in plus, because I want to add another IP, and I want to add IPv4 dot addresses with an S at the end, and then I want to add, say, 172.10 172.20.10 dot um I want to add 7 for, all right, I want to add dot 7. So we already see dot 4 and dot 5, but I want to add dot 7, and I want to put in the /28 cider, right, because that's the network we're on, and we'll press enter. Actually, wait, we haven't specified the name. So nmcli con modify, which one we want to modify? We want to modify ENS222. We can't forget that. That's very important. All right, now let's press enter. All right, let's have a take a look. Yeah, and you'll see that we have dot 7 as our second IP. Now, if I wanted to remove this, we simply just put a minus. So put nmcli con mod for modify, and then we put, excuse me, con modify ENS222, and I want to take the dot 7 IP out, so I'll put in minus 172, oops, 172.20.10.7 and /28 for that cider, and we'll press enter. I believe I did something wrong. Okay, yep, that's what I did wrong. I forgot the IPv4 address. My mistake, guys. Clear that. So nmcli con modify ENS222 and IPv4 addresses, and which one? It was 172. Oops, 172.20.10.7, and I forgot the minus. Press enter. Now let's view nmcli con show ENS222. It's still present. I believe that's, we need to restart. Let me actually have a restart at this. Um, forgot the cider as well. Let me put that as well. Con show ENS222. Alright, I believe that was the issue. I had forgotten the cider, which is important. So now you'll see that we have got rid of the .7. So that's important, guys, to keep the cider or the prefix inside of the command. So minus to get rid of the IP and plus to add it. Let's just do that really quickly, just to confirm. Add a plus, right? We'll see the content. We have dot 7, and now we'll modify it to get rid of it. So we'll put a minus, and now let's view the content again. ENS222, and yes, it's been removed. Awesome, perfect. Now let me show you how to add auto connect. So right now it's actually enabled connection to auto connect. So to do that, we simply put in nmcli con, and we're going to be modifying it. So mod, and what do we want to modify? ENS222. And for what do I want to do for ENS222? Well, I want to take off the auto connection feature. So connection, or actually, sorry, it's IPv4.connection.auto connect, and I want to put no. Instead of yes, I want to put no, because right now it's enabled, right? You can see enabled. Let's put in no. I believe you do not need IPv4 for the connection, so let me just make sure. Yeah, so for the connection.auto connect feature, we don't need to put IPv4. So now let's view nmcli con show ENS222, and now you'll see that the auto connect feature has been changed to no. Similarly, you can also do the interface name. If let's say we want to change the name, which is ENS222. So let's actually do that. nmcli con connection modify current name. So what is the current name right now? It is ENS222, right? And then we'll say connection dot id just to make sure, right? Right now the name is connection dot id. The name is ENS222. Configuration is connection dot id, and we'll just give it a new name. We'll say ENS2. Press enter. Now let's view the content. nmcli con show ENS2. Oops, let me clear the screen. And now you'll see that the name has been changed to ENS2. And it's the same network interface, same adapter, .4. So that's how you change the name. Let's actually change the name back to ENS22. nmcli con mod, right? And what do we want to change? We want to change the name, so ENS2, and it's going to be connection.id, new name, ENS222. All right, and press enter, clear the screen, nmcli con show ENS222. And there you go. Our name is now back to ENS222. Now, there's actually a lot of settings that you can configure to your liking. For example, the UUID, you'd simply put in nmcli con mod, and then you'll put in connection.uuid, and then give it a UUID of your choice. And same thing with the type, but obviously you would have to specify the type being a valid type. But essentially, this is how you change the settings. You put in the pre or the configuration name. So in this case, connection ID, and then whatever you would like to give it. So it's actually kind of easy. At first, it is kind of a mouthful, and it's a lot to just grasp because there's just so much going on in this command. But if you honestly just do um, nmcli con show, or sorry, nmcli con show, and then the name of it, so ens22, right? Everything is actually in here. The configuration is actually in here. It's kind of hidden. It's not really actually hidden. It's present. It's just what knowledge you know and how to configure it. So for example, we configure the IPv4 dot addresses. So let's actually take a look at that. IPv4 dot addresses. So right here, right? IPv4 dot addresses, or actually it's IPv4. So right here, IPv4 dot addresses, and that's exactly what we put, right? We put IPv4 dot addresses, and then we put in the IP, and then slash, and then the CIDR. And if we wanted to take it out, we simply put a minus in front of this, right, to subtract it. And if you wanted to add it, we simply put an addition sign, plus sign. Same thing with the DNS, right? This is a priority, but you understand what I'm trying to say. All right. So just keep in mind, just remember the nmcli const show. That's very important because that will show you the configurations that's already present on your system. And then from there, what you can do is nmcli const show, and then you can put in the name. Then you'll get a lot more information, right? Or you can simply put in man nmcli, which is very helpful, and you'll see a lot of settings, right? It'll honestly take me a day to get through all of this. So yeah, you guys can check this out, and you can also you can do nmcli con general. I believe it was general. Um, no, it was not general. Let me just. What was that? nm con show general, was that? Trying to remember. Um, it was actually general permissions. So this is one thing you guys can look at as well to see the permissions, what's enabled, right? So this is actually really helpful if you want to see if something's not working. So you can see from this point of view. So we covered over how to add, how to modify, how to how to bring it up, how to bring it down, how to add a different IP on this configured adapter. I don't think I showed you how to delete. So let me show you how to actually delete, which is kind of simple. So we'll simply put nmcli const show. First we'll list all the connections. And say I want to delete ENS 160. We'll put in nmcli, we'll put in con, and we'll put in delete and ENS 160. That's simply it. And now you'll see connection ENS has been deleted. Now let's do an MCLI const show, and it's gone, completely gone. We still have our adapter, so if we do if config, yeah, of course we still have our adapter, but nothing is configured on this adapter. We just deleted it. Now we'll just do nmcli con add ens 160, right? And type Ethernet. And I won't give it any addresses. Just press enter. Invalid setting dot property. So we do have to actually let's just put IPv4 dot addresses 10. What was it? 172.10. It's 20.10.5. Yeah, we'll put in 5/28 CIDRs. Um, con add. Was that the con name? Am I missing? I believe it is the con name I'm missing. Yep, sorry about that, guys. That's really important to add. Con name, I completely forgot. Just give it a second. There you go. Now if we do nmcli con show, you'll see ENS 160 has been added. So when you do an MCLI con add, you have to put con hyphen name, and then you can put in the name of what you want to give it. So in this case, it's ENS 160. You can honestly name this anything you like. I just chose ENS 160 because this is how it defaultly comes. Um, the default names are either ENS 160, ENS 224, or ENS 225. It's something with ENS. So I just picked the generic name. It's just so that you guys can kind of, see the patterns. So that's how you delete it. And now let's take a look at the graphical user interface. All right, so to do the graphical user interface, we simply put nm for network manager, right? And we put in TUI. Press enter, and now you'll see we have the graphical user interface. So let's edit a connection. Let's edit ENS 160. And so if you guys, we just configured this actually, so to .5, right? We haven't added any gateway, so if I actually cancel out of here, let me actually go down. Let me actually cancel this and quit this. Now you'll see over here, nmcli con add, right? The name, the type of Ethernet, right? And then that's it. We only specified the IPv4 address, nothing else after that. So now we go back, edit a connection, press enter, and press the arrow key down. No, actually we're going to ENS 160, sorry. Press enter, and now we can add a gateway from here. So we'll do 172.20.10.1. We'll add a DNS, and we'll add 8.8.8.8, right? And everything else, that raises network for default routing. We'll leave everything else blank, right? So let me just confirm. Clone that. Nope, we'll leave that as well. We'll press OK, and we'll go back. We'll press OK, and now let's see nmcli con show ENS 160, and now you'll see our default gateway has been added, and also the DNS that we configured has been also added. Awesome. So you guys might be asking, well, if you have a graphical user interface, why do we need to use the command line, right? Why do we need to use the nmcli and remember all the configurations like the IPv4 addresses, and then the IP, and then IPv4 gateway. So, well, you would want to remember this, or honestly, you don't even have to remember this. Once you keep doing this again and again, it will just come to you naturally. And the reason why you would want to do this is because it's simpler this way. It's not a lot of load on the system to use the graphical user interface. And also, if you guys are going for the Red Hat exam, there will be a question on network manager to configure your IP, whether it's statically or it's DHCP dynamically, right? Dynamically host control protocol, DHCP. So that's why you kind of want to know both methods. You never know. If you're on an exam, you can be asked a certain question. That's pretty much my reasoning to know why you should know the nmcli commands. All right, guys. So it's been a long video. I hope you guys learned a bit about the nmcli command. I would just say just practice, 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 and practice makes perfect. Even when I first learned this command, it took me a while to kind of just grasp it, and to kind of understand the the position of how to position the con hyphen name and then give it the name and then set the IPv4 dot addresses. But honestly, if you guys simply just put nmcli con show and then the name, right, you will see a lot of configuration within the settings. Like within this, you simply have IPv4 dot method, and then you can put IPv4 dot method, and you can put in auto, or you can put in no, you can put in yes, right? So you literally have it within the show command. You have all the configurations that you'd want to see in there, and then also you can do it nmcli, I mean, sorry, man, right? Man nmcli. And man can be used honestly for any command, like for man for PS, for process, man for LS, man for almost everything there is. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. Hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, give it a like. If you guys have any questions, give a comment below. I'll see you guys in the next one.